This video is going to be a look at the continued development and just explosion of Christian Watson with the Green Bay Packers. You're talking about a guy who has 7 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks, 6 targets or more in the last 4 games. And those 7 touchdowns, are receiving touchdowns. He also had a 46-yard rushing touchdown against the Bears that I'll show you here in a moment. His stats continue to explode, even if he were to, for whatever reason, not contribute anything else the rest of the year for the Packers. The ability, the talent is there. It's obvious to see how he can impact an offense. Big playability. And then the thing that I really like about him is, it's not just the jet sweep. He's a threat on jet sweep to take it to the house, you know, widen your defense horizontally, stretch the defense horizontally. Also, the downfield threat in the pass game. It's obvious. He makes contested catches in the red zone. The one thing that I really like that I think is a little bit underrated about him because of all the athletic gifts and the big playability is his ability to make himself available to the quarterback after the play has kind of broken down. I think you saw one example of this in the Titans game, maybe week 10. Might have my weeks wrong there. Maybe that was week 11. And then in this Bears game, I think his touchdown was a little bit of an unsettled play. So we're going to get to the film, and as I go through it, let me know what you guys think. Continue to be impressed with him and just happy for him because of the criticism that was thrown at the guy because of the lack of production early in the year when we know he was dealing with injuries. And there was some inconsistency there as well. All right, so he's in a trip set down here to the bottom against the Bears. Going to be kind of late here in terms of he's not part of the progression at first, I don't think. And then Aaron Rodgers just finds him along the right-hand side. I think Aaron Rodgers is reading over here initially, away from Watson. Watson clears the linebacker level, and now he's got a safety kind of stacked on top of him, and Rodgers has now moved his attention over here, I think, to this underneath, a little under route. Feels some pressure, finds just enough space to deliver it to Watson, and you'll get a view of what Rodgers did, from the end zone angle here in a moment. Christian Watson's just taking advantage of these opportunities. I think it was the Cowboys game early. He had a couple of drops on third down, and people were pretty critical of him. I'll continue to reference that because everyone's so judgy with these young players, these rookies. If they're not who you want them to be as a fan, after 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes even sooner than that, they get put into a little box and labeled, and that's it. All right, Watson again. This is the end zone angle of the same play, the touchdown catch. He's a number 3 guy in trip, so he's in the slot. Rodgers is looking to the other side first. I think he's now on his third read, looking for some help. And again, Christian Watson makes himself available in these situations. That is not a skill that, was thrown out there in the draft process. It was all about his athletic ability, I suspect. All right, as I recall. And here recently, again, I think it was against the Titans in week 11, he had a situation. The timing was like this, where it was off schedule. He was not exactly, part of the progression at first and was able to make himself available. All right, he's up top now in this twin wing set. Twin wing means 2 receivers, so 2 receivers to the top side, and then wing down to the bottom side, essentially 2 tight ends. He's going to run this deep dig against man-to-man coverage. Play action by Rodgers. You can see him sharply bring this back into the middle of the field. It creates a lot of separation because he's just so athletic, number one. And number two, when he stems vertically, corner's got to respect it. And this guy does here. I think sometimes he's really smart about changing his speed a little bit, allowing the DB to think he's giving him full speed, and he's really not. He's just setting up a cut. I think a 19-yard gain over the middle. And then finally, the last play I want to show you, jet sweep. It shouldn't be this easy, but it can be against man-to-man. That tight end moved across the formation, and you can see that 53 is moving with him. Pretty clear indicator that you've probably got man-to-man. Now, who knows, if they had this play called originally, if they had 2 plays called in the huddle, meaning if it's zone, we're going to run this particular play, and if it's man, like we see here, we're going to run the jet sweep to Watson. As it is, Watson's man is actually looking in the backfield for a moment, but Watson's man's going to go with him on the motion just before the ball is snapped. He gets to the midline. Cool job, if you ask me, of them blocking it. He tries to flip or soar into the end zone. I like what they do here. As Watson goes across and the ball is snapped, his man that's guarding him is going to go across. They're going to take the X and they're going to pin him inside. They're going to pin that DB inside. Well, makes sense because the guy who's guarding the X receiver here, he's playing man as well. So because he's playing man, they've created basically a 2-for-1. Like I said, it shouldn't be this easy to spring someone open. There's no direct force player over here. Bears have really put themselves into a bind by not, maybe taking the backside D end and having him be the force player, or backside inside linebacker, kind of overcommitted to trips. Christian Watson is the equalizer. You're not going to be able to do certain things against their offense coverage-wise, if you ask me, because of his big play ability. I think he's transforming the Packers offense. Maybe not for this year. Maybe they're never going to return to being the, number 1 or 2 or 3 offense in the league. Aaron Rodgers is certainly past his prime. And they've had a lot of troubles, generating points up there in 2022. I get it. But when I say Christian Watson is changing their offense, he may not change their offense this year, push it to its full potential, but he is he's a force multiplier because he's not just a good receiver. I mean, that's very rare what he just did there in terms of being able to take the jet sweep to the house. There might be certain coverages that people kind of have to avoid against them, and I suspect that man-to-man might be one of them because of plays like this. Now, they may be seeing more man. That could be true. They could be seeing more man than typical Aaron Rodgers years. And I offer to you that might be one of the reasons why Christian Watson has 7 touchdowns, because he's just a difficult guy to match up with. I think all those teams that passed on him in the NFL draft are going to regret it. Certainly, there's a whole lot of great receivers that were drafted in week 1. In my opinion, Christian Watson's name belongs with theirs in terms of production so far in their rookie year. Is he going to be better than Jamison Williams? Is he going to be better than Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave? I mean, I don't know about all that. Better? I mean, who cares? I just know that he's producing, particularly for where he was drafted, he's producing and giving the Packers what they need, which is playmaking ability. And, the playoffs for them, kind of far-fetched. But again, Christian Watson, I think, is a foundational piece for them offensively to try to rebuild this offense into, what they want it to be, whether Aaron Rodgers is back next season or not. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of a quick video about Christian Watson. And if you have any other players across the NFL that you'd like me to cover, quick videos like this, let me know in the comments section.